Hey guys, my name is Simpzy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more Total War Rome 2 here today on the channel. We have episode 4 of my DEI, Divide Et Impera Rhodes campaign. Here today, we've got a quite interesting situation. Right, so, due to our recent conquests in Larissa and Athens, we've had a huge population influx in this region, bringing in slaves from around Hellas, and unfortunately they've risen up in Athens. They've taken off their shackles and have attacked me in the grasslands here. However, the Spartans have come and intercepted, so we're going to get the very depleted and light Athenian garrison that was obviously smashed in the siege, and they're basically going to watch from the hillside as the Spartans are going to essentially work their magic. We're going to see the Spartan war machine at full extent, because I imagine that they can't let any huge slave uprising occur on the Greek peninsula due to their own internal machinations and position with having such a large helot population under their control. If they see slaves and uprisings happen, it could very well cost them their economy at home. So the Spartans are on the move here. So I guess to start things off, this is going to be more of a battle replay, I guess. We've got the Spartans versing the uprising. We obviously don't want to go too far in and waste the very few men we have in the garrison, but we also don't want them to lose this fight, so we might have to maintain a pretty decent distance. But here are the Spartans going to war. We do have pretty good relations with them now. We do have a military access pact with them, which allowed them to march through my lands. Let's move on up to a better position. The topography of this battlefield isn't the best, as the rebels do seem to have the high ground. And here is the Athenian garrison with Rhodian commanders. They're actually pivoting to us. You got to focus on the Spartans. They're the ones they're going to absolutely carve through you. So we currently have 4 settlements under our control: Athens, Larissa, and your capital Athens, and then we've got Rhodes and Crete as well. So at the moment for Empire, we're currently turtling up a little bit, rebuilding for the attack on Larissa, and then we've got a decision to make: where to expand and conquer. Let me know in the comments. As the Spartan cavalry here is starting to engage some of the lighter rebels on the hillside here. Yeah, it's going to be quite harsh for them to push up here, but it looks like they're going to do it. The Spartans are on the warpath. Let's speed things up as they've crushed that first unit. The rebel captain and his unit is actually engaging the Spartans. But fierce fighting is breaking on out here on the sloped hillside, as Spartan and rebel cavalry trade in shield and sword combat. Spartans are raining some missile support up and over the top. But yeah, we've got a couple decisions to make. Where do we go, ladies and gentlemen? Apollonia is under the control of Rome. Do we anger the legionaries of Rome and take there and kick them out of Greece? Because Greece belongs to the Greeks, the Hellenic world. We could make a play for Pella, just continuing to further expand our influence on Greece. That could be a play. I also, as well, at some point, do want to send an invasion force, an army, and military assets and personnel to Asia Minor, because I do want to take Pergamon, essentially like those ancient Troy, like those Greek-held territories on the coast there of Asia Minor. I do have my eyes firmly set on that, because if we can have like an Adriatic kingdom, that would be bloody brilliant, wouldn't it? Alright, so it looks like the Spartan army is fully engaged with the uprising here, and the rebels, you got to give it to them. Fierce fighting is now breaking out. They are holding their own. They are fighting to the bitter end. As, I don't know, what could we call this guy? The leader of the rebels, Spartacus. This is Spartacus's, ironically, Spartan rebellion. Which is quite fitting. But it's super interesting that the Spartan AI was so hyper-aggressive in disbanding these rebels. Like, it's like from a role-playing perspective, it's quite cool. And I guess from a gameplay as well, that was really quite astute. Like, they didn't want any threat on their border. So they were like, you know what, because they're so aggressive and militarily, they're like, we're going to start carving things up. As look at this, they're going to town. We've got crazy animations going left, right, and center. That guy just got a spear through the hand. Oh, and through the chest. Oh my god. What a way to go. A spear through the hand. And then through the chest. Oh! Oh! Holy cow. The Spartans are taking a lot out, but you got to give it to the rebels in the uprising. They're dragging them into the trenches, just right into the doldrums. They're making them fight. Oh, here we go. Here we got. This is more of the highbrow, high-tier Spartan units down here. There we go. The general units. They do seem to actually have a couple of royal Spartan infantry. That's what you'd consider the Spartan army be. There we go. Look at that. Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah! Spartans, what is your profession? As they move on up. There we go. Ah, the memories from my Spartan campaign. And that's it, they won. Well, we'll speed things up because we want them to try and run down as many of them as possible. So we didn't even need to commit the garrison forces, as the Spartans look to run down the remaining rabble and rebels. Good. Looks like trade and resources will continue to flow. Thankfully, it didn't end in a protracted siege of Athens, because now that it's our new capital, it could have cut out our essential, like, I was going to say global supply chain, but that's not. It's not. It's I guess our known world supply chain would be the best way to describe it, because like 80% of Rhodes' wealth at the moment, which is supporting the navy and the military, and our investments into our construction, is all coming from trade. Because it's always worth getting those trade resources in DEI when you could afford to. And thankfully Greece has a bunch. Cities in close proximity. Large cities, defendable cities with resources. So you really can snowball once you take a couple territories, which we're doing now. We are replenishing from the war in Larissa. But, yeah, we're looking really good in this campaign. So, wow. That was actually a pretty big fight. Was that a 10,000 man battle? Yeah, I believe it was. Oh, wow, that was huge. Obviously, we don't see the stats of the Spartans because we weren't controlling them, which is a bit of a shame. But 800 losses, 1.5k kills. Once the commander was destroyed, their army essentially capitulated. Yeah, so that was only just. So 3,800 plus 4,000. So what's that? Roughly like 10,100 or so? Yeah, that was a 10,000 man battle. That was huge. That was the biggest battle we've had of the series. Huh. I believe so. There might have been a couple other ones actually. But 2v1, Rhodes sat back. Like the late Walder Frey in Game of Thrones, just sitting there waiting and watching, not committing. Yeah. Our cavalry got 34 kills, that was it. Just to run down the remaining stragglers. Take a little bit to load in here. I think it's just because it's an intern phase in another faction. So, although we... Right, okay, that's interesting. Although we managed to run down 32, we get to decide what happens to the 300. Ransom is actually worth the money. But we kind of don't want them to rise up again, so... I guess we just get rid of them. Let's get rid of the captives. Okay, that is quite close to Athens, that Spartan army. Let's cross our fingers and hope that they don't get any ideas. Because they could easily take it. Syracuse want a non-aggressional pact. We'll sign that. Because we could look to maybe get a confederation with them at some point. That'd be poggers. Okay, so after that war with the uprising and allying with Sparta, it's going to cost us a bit. We can actually get a military alliance with them, which is huge. 1,100, we'll get the deal signed, as we've got fantastic relations with them now, and that's even further compounded by the fact that we fought alongside them. Unfortunately, some of the uprising actually retreated further north to Larissa, so they didn't get all of them. So we will need them to run them down if we can, or we might have to deal with them at Larissa as well. We're still replenishing and repairing, because we're very quite weak there, but we'll send my spy down, we'll poison. Alright, so back over with my admiral here. One more turn before he runs out of supplies. And we're probably not going to be able to get you back at full strength, because we're not going to be able to dock in a port anywhere to get supplies. So we've still got our small army going around the world, securing trade rights, negotiations, and whatnot. So we're currently negotiating with the Celtiberian Lusitani, who are currently chilling and hanging out in modern-day Portugal. And yeah, we're making 2,200 per turn. We're finally producing something apart from fish. Got olive oil going. Okay, so the Spartans have continued to march from Sparta, moving on from Athens, and now they're in Larissa to finish off the last of the uprising, which for whatever reason lost a lot of units there. I guess they just were running out. Like, why was there not a full stack? There was a full stack like just before I ended the turn there. A little bit crazy, because we're still replenishing and repairing in Larissa. We want to try and build back up before we, well, make a decision onto where we go. Because that's the thing with DEI, you advance and conquer, then you need to secure your position. You need to turtle up a bit, and then you go again. Okay, Syracuse want a defensive alliance. We've got so many great relations with these factions. Unfortunately, I'm going to decline it because I don't really need it. Okay. Family tree wise, I think I've got an idea here. We might be able to bring Eugenius in if we. Well, we could have adopted, but I think we'll just marry him off. Actually, that might be more beneficial. Can I do anything here? Okay, I can't do it yet, but I'm thinking we might adopt him in here eventually. We'll get him married off, though. Okay, still deploying the noble women down here. I might actually need to move them to a better position. We've got a full stack here now. We have 2 in operation. That army that was in Rhodes has now been completed, and I think I want to attack Lydia. I think I want to make a play into Asia Minor now. This is what we currently control. Now with Sparta as our military ally and Egypt, we're in a really good position to, I think, push over here into Asia Minor. They've even taken a province in Cappadocia as well. So there doesn't seem to be an army here on the coast, which can be a problem. And we might actually be able to bring in the men of Pergamon as well. We've pushed up to Bordeaux. We're going to be able to get trade with the Gauls hanging out here. Constantly just looking for more factions to trade with as we push up into Brittany. Yeah, it's always worth getting a navy, going around the world and getting the trade. Obviously, you can get attacked by various factions around the world because they know your position. But overall, it's worth it. Now, unfortunately, we do have trade with Lydia, so we will have to cancel that. That will hamper our relations slightly, but we will bring in Sparta and Egypt. No! Oh, that's not good. The war-hungry Spartans have joined, but the cowsome pharaohs have declined. That's annoying. We've had an alliance with them for, like, the whole game. Now, maybe after the war is over, we could get it back. But we're going to march on over into Asia Minor. Alright, let's siege this out. Actually, not favoured to win. However, we do have a navy nearby. So, the navy, the Royal Navy, let's say, is currently garrisoning in Crete and can quickly react and pivot to any threat in the Aegean, even if it's aggressively taking a city. Now, there's a navy there, and not the largest garrison. They will have a couple of armies if they've got 3 provinces. So this is currently 90% in our favour. We will take the Order Resolve, because we're going to lose a lot more actually sieging it. But we will play a land battle against them, potentially. Now, they should have another settlement here, and you would imagine that they'll be further north in the forest. So we'll send a spy up to get some line of sight. Maybe they didn't want to lose sight their Asia Minor province. I'm surprised about that. Because, look, I didn't actually think I'd be maybe pushing into Cappadocia. I have my eyes set on the coastal, Hellenically aligned provinces. Like, a lot of these regions here in and around Greece, like, these are all former Greek colonies. These are Greek speakers. These are Greek people. They're going to be more willing to join my Rhodian Empire rather than some of the barbarians and the Gauls that live to the northeast, like in the mountains near Cappadocia. But pretty decent city we've taken. Carthage want a non-aggression pact, but they're going to demand a lot. We currently have a huge war chest now because we've just been turtling up and benefiting from our strong position. It's quite a lot, but I guess I'll accept it. Pergamon want a trade agreement. Oh, it's because we've taken that settlement now. We can actually have trade flowing with there. Sure. 800 isn't too much. We're going to be able to pay them back. Oh, and they're actually helping out with a small rebellion which has popped up here. Maybe we should make a confederation with them. Huh. Because they're quite close to us. I was kind of looking like, oh, we might actually attack Pergamon after Lydia. I was just sort of thinking. But they've got 2 full stacks and a garrison. Like, that's quite strong. Bithynia want a defensive alliance. I think, like, diplomacy-wise, a lot easier as a Greek faction, because there's just so many of them, compared to, like, Rome, who's isolated. Yeah, Pergamon wanted a military alliance. It's going to cost us a bit, though. Oh, dude, we'll sign that. Coming in and help. Like, they came into our territory and help. Yeah, sure. Like, we've got fantastic relations with the Greek factions. Yeah, I feel like I've always, now thinking about it, I think it's easier diplomacy-wise to deal with Hellenic factions as a Hellenic faction, just because there's the sheer amount of them. Okay, so I guess we try and bring in some more naval units, because we've got the money. We've got a huge amount of gold in our war chest, and we're making a fantastic amount per turn. So I guess now that we've taken our first coastal territory in Asia Minor, we can use this as a lily pad, a launching pad, to further push into Asia Minor and into Cappadocia and finish off the last of Lydia. So we've got 1 full stack and the navy hanging out here. We're going to have to be really quite careful in our approach into the mountains, as we will not have naval supremacy and support. So that's probably going to have to defend the city. So you're pushing eastward. We've also got a secondary full stack at Larissa, which could also maybe start a war with the Macedonians or Romans. I'm undecided. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed episode 4. Stay tuned for episode 5 coming out soon as we continue with this Rhodian Empire campaign. The main objective of this series is to complete the short victory conditions that I've set out in taking Hellas and the coastal territory in Asia Minor and setting up maybe even like an 1100 Byzantine Empire. That's what I sort of want. You know what I mean? Like just having this coastal regions, and then depending if you guys are still enjoying, we could go for maybe the longer or other military victory conditions. Maybe getting to a point where we're strong enough to fight a faction like Rome, or maybe even quite frankly the Egyptians who have betrayed us, or potentially the Seleucids as well. We're not strong enough maybe to fight either one of them. I'm like, should we go against Macedon? Or I think Macedon will be easier than against Rome, but fighting against Rome might be more exciting. I don't know. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. I'm having an absolute blast with this Rhodes campaign. I'm actually quite surprised that I've never done a series with them before. I think they're quite popular just because of the Rhodes and the Colossus and the Rhodes Scholar. Like, there's a lot of like people like oh, they sort of think of Rhodes in antiquity and stuff. Probably more so than like Syracuse potentially, which I've done like campaigns of, which are of a Hellenic island nation and have grown them out. But yeah, I'm surprised I haven't done a Rhodes campaign before. Why haven't I? It's such a fun and enjoyable faction, and I can't wait to see where we end up. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Take care. I'm going to play the outro now, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. Unfortunately, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my social media links in the description below if you want to stay connected with me. I also want to say thank you to this month's patrons and channel members: Victor K, Sebastian C, Jordan K, Caesar L, Brian S, Tao, Lion B, Kyle P, Tom C, and White P. My name has been Simpzy. Much love from Australia. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.